If you're a bloke over 60, I need you to pay bloody close attention to what I'm about to tell you. Because what you do in the privacy of your own bedroom, yeah, that thing you might feel embarrassed talking about even with your GP, could be determining how many more years you've got, and more importantly, how you're going to spend them. Just a fortnight ago, I had this patient walk into my clinic in Melbourne. Let's call him Barry. He's 68. Looked at me with this mix of embarrassment and worry I've seen hundreds of times. "Doc," he said, shifting uncomfortably in his chair. "I need to ask you something, but I don't know how to start." And right there, I knew exactly what he wanted to talk about, something nearly every bloke wonders about, but hardly anyone has the guts to ask their doctor. I'm Dr. Zoe Mitchell, and I've spent over 20 years treating men just like you across Australia. Today, we're going to talk straight. No beating around the bush. No medical jargon that makes you feel like you need a dictionary. Just honest conversation, like we're sitting down over a cuppa in my clinic. Now, here's the thing that got Barry into my office, and it's probably what brought you here too. He'd heard rumours. Mates at the pub talking in hushed tones. Something he'd read online at 2 a.m. when he couldn't sleep. The big question: does masturbation affect your risk of prostate cancer? And if you're not having sex regularly, are you putting yourself in danger? Fair dinkum. These are legitimate questions that deserve legitimate answers, not the rubbish you find in some dodgy corner of the internet. So let's get into it. Barry told me his story, and I reckon it'll sound familiar to heaps of you. He's been a widower for 5 years now. No partner. No regular sexual activity. And he's bloody terrified. "Doc, I'm worried sick," he said. "I read somewhere that if you don't ejaculate regularly, you're more likely to get prostate cancer. Is that true?" Before I answered Barry, I want you to understand something crucial. In my 2 decades of practice, I've seen thousands of men suffer in silence because they're too embarrassed to ask questions about their sexual health. They'd rather Google it at midnight than have a real conversation with a medical professional. And that silence, that's what kills blokes. Not the questions, not the conversations, the silence. So here's what I told Barry, and here's what the science actually says. Buckle up, because this is fascinating stuff. Back in the early 2000s, researchers at Harvard decided to do something pretty bloody remarkable. They followed nearly 32,000 men for 18 years. Not 100 blokes, not 1,000, 32,000. That's like following every person in Canberra and then some. This wasn't some dodgy study done in a basement. This was rigorous, peer-reviewed science, published in one of the most respected medical journals in the world. And what they found was genuinely surprising. Men who reported ejaculating 21 times or more per month, yeah, you heard that right, 21 times, had a 33% lower risk of developing prostate cancer compared to blokes who ejaculated only 4 to 7 times a month. 33% lower. That's massive. Now, before you start setting goals like you're training for the Olympics, let me be crystal clear about something. And this is really important, so listen up. That number, 21 times, is not a prescription. It's not a target you need to stress about hitting. It's not a competition with your mates. Sexual health doesn't work like that. It's not like taking your blood pressure tablets 3 times a day. The key takeaway isn't the specific number, it's that regular ejaculation appears to have protective benefits. And here's the kicker that really got Barry's attention. It didn't matter how you got there. Partnered sex, masturbation, morning glory that actually went somewhere. The protective effects seemed to be linked to the physical act of ejaculation itself. Not the romance, not having a partner, just the biological process. Barry looked at me with this expression of relief mixed with disbelief. "Doc, but I'm on my own. Does that mean?" And I stopped him right there. "Barry, mate, your health doesn't depend on having a partner. It depends on taking care of yourself." I saw his eyes well up a bit. These conversations get emotional sometimes, and that's completely all right. Other studies have backed this up. Research from 2017, a massive meta-analysis in 2018, all pointing in the same direction. The consistency of these findings is so strong that we can't just ignore it anymore. But the question remains, why? What's the mechanism? How does ejaculation actually protect your prostate? The scientific community has several theories, and they're all pretty fascinating. Think of them as pieces of a puzzle. The first theory is what we call the flushing hypothesis. Imagine your prostate is like a sponge with tiny channels running through it. Over time, potentially harmful substances, carcinogens from the environment, cigarette smoke if you've been a smoker, chemicals from processed foods, can accumulate in the prostatic fluid. Each ejaculation works like a flush, a rinse, pushing these substances out before they have time to damage your cells. If you're not ejaculating regularly, these toxins hang around longer in contact with your prostate tissue, increasing the chance they'll cause mutations in your DNA that could eventually lead to cancer. It's like washing your dishes. If you leave them dirty for too long, the gunk sets in and becomes harder to shift. The second theory involves hormones, and this is crucial. Regular ejaculation might help maintain a healthier hormonal balance within your prostate, regulating levels of testosterone and other androgens. When these hormones are balanced, cell growth stays under control. But when they get out of whack, cells can start growing uncontrollably, and that's where problems begin. Here's a third idea that I reckon is brilliant. Sexual activity acts similar to physical exercise for your immune system. It stimulates your body's defense mechanisms, and your immune system doesn't just fight off viruses and bacteria, it also hunts down abnormal cells, including cancer cells, before they become a real problem. An active, alert immune system is much better at detecting and eliminating dodgy cells early. Finally, those muscular contractions during orgasm, those rhythmic, powerful contractions, improve blood flow throughout your entire pelvic region. Better circulation means less inflammation, less oxidative stress, and an environment that's much less hospitable to cancer development. Barry interrupted me at this point. Doc, so how many times do I need to do it? And this is where I need to be really, really clear with you all. That number of 21 isn't a medical prescription you need to force yourself to meet. The frequency that's right for each man is completely personal, totally individual. It depends on your age, your overall health, whether you've got a partner, your energy levels, your mood, your medications, your stress levels. The list goes on forever. Forcing yourself to hit a specific number can create anxiety and stress. And that's counterproductive. It's worse than the cure. What these studies tell us isn't that we need to become machines. It's that a sexually active life, a regular pattern of ejaculation, appears to be one component of a healthy lifestyle that protects your prostate. The key, and I told this to Barry, and I'm telling you, is to listen to your body. Find your own rhythm. No pressure. No guilt. No comparing yourself to anyone else. Your body will tell you what it needs. You just need to pay attention. Now, I want to address something that worries heaps of blokes, especially those who've already had prostate problems. What happens to your ejaculation if you need surgery? This question comes up almost daily in my practice, and the answer isn't simple because it depends on the type of surgery. Let's talk about the most common operation first, the one done for benign prostatic enlargement. That's where your prostate grows and grows until it squeezes your urethra, making it difficult to pee. I had another patient, let's call him Rob, 72 years old. Poor bloke couldn't sleep through the night. He was getting up 6, 7 times to pee, and when he did, barely anything came out. It was torture. For cases like Rob's, the surgery aims to clear the blockage. We remove the internal tissue causing the obstruction, but leave the outer capsule of the prostate intact. It's like scooping out the inside of an orange, but leaving the peel. Here's the most common consequence: retrograde ejaculation. Let me explain what that means in plain English. During orgasm, instead of semen being expelled outward, it goes backward into your bladder. This happens because the surgery alters that little valve, the internal sphincter, that normally closes to prevent this. It's like a door that doesn't close properly anymore. And here's what's really important for you to understand. You'll still have orgasms. The sensation of pleasure will be exactly the same. Your ability to get an erection shouldn't be affected at all. You simply won't see semen come out. Rob was pretty worried when I explained this before his surgery. "Doc, does this mean I'm not a man anymore?" he asked. "Mate," I said, holding his hand. You're still the same bloke. The semen that goes into your bladder doesn't cause any problems whatsoever. It just gets flushed out harmlessly when you pee. It's taken a different route, that's all. Most blokes adapt to this perfectly well, and their sex lives remain satisfying. But the second type of surgery is very different, much more serious. That's radical prostatectomy, the operation we do when there's prostate cancer. Here, the goal is to save your life, to cure the cancer, and to do that we remove the entire prostate gland, along with the seminal vesicles. It's like demolishing the entire factory, not just clearing it out. When you remove these organs, semen production stops completely. There's no factory, no production. After this surgery, there's no ejaculation at all. You can still experience orgasm, what we call a dry orgasm, that sensation of climax, of pleasure, but there won't be any fluid expelled. I need to be honest with you about this surgery, because it's more complex and carries serious risks. Two major complications worry blokes the most: urinary incontinence, losing control of your bladder, and erectile dysfunction, difficulty or inability to get erections. This happens because the nerves responsible for erections run right next to the prostate, like electrical wires running along a wall. During surgery, these nerves can be damaged. I had a patient, let's call him Steve, 6'5", newly diagnosed with prostate cancer. He came to me with tears in his eyes. "Doc, is it worth living like this?" And I answered him with complete honesty. "Steve, mate, the question isn't whether it's worth living like this. The question is whether it's worth living. And with modern techniques, robotic surgery, precision tools, we can often preserve those nerves. Not always, but often. After everything I've told you, all these facts, all these stories, all these worries and hopes, I want you to walk away with one clear, powerful idea. There's no magic formula to prevent prostate cancer, no miracle diet, no secret supplement, no magical number of ejaculations that'll guarantee you're safe. The most powerful tool you've got, the only thing that can truly make the difference between life and death, is prevention through regular medical checkups. Getting your annual check with your GP, measuring your PSA levels, that prostate-specific antigen test everyone talks about. Having a digital rectal exam when your doctor recommends it, even though it's awkward as hell, that's what can actually save your life, because it allows us to catch problems when there's still time to do something about them. Barry came back to see me a month after our first chat. "Doc," he said with a smile, "I've booked in with my urologist. And you know what? I'm not embarrassed anymore. I told my mates at the bowls club, and turns out they all had the same questions. That's it, Barry. That's breaking the silence that kills blokes. Now, maintaining regular ejaculation does appear to be beneficial. The studies are clear on that. But take it as one piece of a much bigger puzzle. What are the other pieces? The ones that have been scientifically proven to be crucial? First off, don't smoke. Tobacco is poison for your prostate, your lungs, your entire body. If you smoke, quit. Not tomorrow. Today. There are heaps of resources in Australia to help you. Quitline, nicotine replacement therapy, support groups. Use them. Second, maintain a healthy weight. That beer gut isn't just cosmetic. It's inflammation. It's disease waiting to happen. Get your weight under control. Third, eat well. More vegetables. More fruit. More fish. Less red meat. Less processed rubbish. Less sugar. Your prostate will thank you. And specifically, tomatoes are brilliant. They're packed with lycopene, which has protective properties. Chuck them in your pasta, your salads, wherever, and above all, move your body. Being sedentary is one of the biggest enemies of your prostate health and your general well-being. You don't need to run marathons. Walk for 30 minutes a day. Take the stairs. Go for a swim. Play with your grandkids. It all counts. One of my patients, Rob from earlier, told me something that stuck with me. "Doc, since I started walking every morning, I don't just pee better. I feel 20 years younger. Physical activity impacts everything. Here's a warning I need to give you. Be very careful with the snake oil salesman on the internet. Those clowns promising miracle cures, selling expensive supplements, spruiking treatments with zero scientific backing. Health is too serious, too bloody important to leave in the hands of people peddling smoke and mirrors. If someone promises to cure your prostate with green smoothies, magnets, or any other rubbish that isn't backed by science, run a mile. Don't waste your money. And more importantly, don't waste your time. When we're talking about cancer, time is everything. Time is life. After 20 years in this job, after treating thousands of blokes across Australia, I've learned something fundamental. The men who age best, who reach their 80 seconds with a smile on their face, aren't the ones who found some secret formula. They're the ones who took control of their health, who weren't embarrassed to ask questions, to seek help, to look after themselves. Your prostate isn't your enemy. It's part of your body that needs attention and care, just like your heart, your lungs, everything else. Regular checkups, healthy lifestyle choices, and yes, maintaining sexual activity in whatever form works for you. These are the tools you've got. So here's what I want you to do right now. Not tomorrow, not next week. Right now. First, if you haven't had your prostate checked in the past year, book an appointment with your GP today. Get your PSA tested. Have that conversation, even if it feels awkward. Second, if you're worried about anything, any symptoms, any changes, anything at all, don't sit on it. Don't Google it at 2 a.m. and spiral into worry. Ring your doctor. Third, talk to someone. Your partner, your mates, your brother. Break that silence. Share what you've learned here. You might be surprised how many blokes are thinking the exact same things but are too scared to say anything. And if you found this information helpful, do me a favor. Subscribe to this channel. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Leave a comment below telling me what questions you've still got. I read every single one, and your questions help me create content that actually helps real people. Look, I know this stuff is uncomfortable. I know talking about masturbation, prostate exams, ejaculation frequency isn't exactly dinner table conversation. But you know what's more uncomfortable? Catching cancer too late because you were too embarrassed to have a conversation or get checked. You deserve to live a long, healthy, active life. You deserve to enjoy your retirement, spend time with your grandkids, do all the things you've worked your whole life for. Don't let embarrassment or silence steal that from you. Take care of yourselves, fellas. Your health is worth it. You're worth it. And remember, I'm here to help, not to judge. None of this is embarrassing to me. It's just medicine. It's just life. So reach out, ask questions, get checked, and look after yourself. Right, I'm going to leave you with this. Your body's been with you through everything, every adventure, every challenge, every triumph. It's the only one you've got. Treat it with the respect and care it deserves. Book that appointment. Have that conversation. Take that first step. Cheers. And I'll see you in the next video, where we'll tackle another topic you've all been asking about. Until then, stay healthy, stay informed, and don't let embarrassment stand between you and the care you need.